You know, if I were a director, I'd have to imagine one of the most affirming things would be casting a bunch of small-time, relatively unknown actors in my movie, and then getting to sit back and watch them achieve success later on. Working with a big-name director can often boost an up-and-coming actor's career, but taking advantage of their limited screen time and turning in a great performance can have the potential to skyrocket their career to previously unimaginable heights. Francis Ford Coppola's 1983 adaptation of The Outsiders is an excellent example of this. Almost every main cast member went on to become a household name. A more recent example is Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Has it really been 6 years since that film was released? Good lord, where did the time go? Unlike The Outsiders, the three main actors in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood were all well-established Hollywood A-listers. The hidden gems were discovered amongst the supporting actors, of which there were many, but there were a few in particular who stood out, those playing as members of the infamous Manson crime family. Several of them haven't just gone on to find success as actors, they've outright dominated the industry, particularly in 2024. Tarantino sure does know how to pick them, doesn't he? Let's take a look at these hippie weirdos and see what they've been up to since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Normie's Guide style.
I'm the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's business.
No, I was dumber than that.
Let me put it to you this way. Before his performance as the devil on horseback, Austin Butler was best known for Zippy Brewster, guest appearances on Nickelodeon and Disney Channel shows, and a couple of short-lived TV programs. Safe to say his career's been safely on the upswing ever since donning the hat and southern drawl. I'll admit it took me a little longer than most people to come around on Austin Butler. His biggest role after Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was in 2022 when he played the king himself in Baz Luhrmann's Elvis. It earned him an Academy Award nomination, and seemingly everyone at the time was singing his praises, but I just couldn't bring myself to agree. Not only did I genuinely hate the film, but I didn't see his performance as Oscar-worthy in any way, shape, or form. The best I could say is that he was good, but not great. He never sank the movie any lower than it had already gone. It wasn't until 2024 that he finally won me over with his portrayal of Feyd-Rautha Harkonnen in Dune Part 2. If it hadn't been for the film's marketing, I likely wouldn't have even known it was him until the credits rolled. An absolutely fantastic performance, and one which I hope isn't just a one-off. It would be downright criminal of Hollywood to waste the potential he has to disappear into his roles in favor of simply typecasting him. Time will be the judge of this one, but I'm glad to finally be rooting for him now along with most everyone else.
Oh, right. Thank you. Okay, I'll be right back.
Unlike Austin Butler, Maya Hawke already had a major role under her belt by the time she appeared in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Also unlike Austin Butler, she was born with connections in the film industry and didn't really need to earn her way in. To be fair, I haven't seen the Little Women miniseries she starred in, so maybe she was amazing, but does anyone truly believe she got the role completely independently of her parents? Does anyone truly believe she got this role in a Quentin Tarantino film completely independently of her being the daughter of Uma Thurman? Even after Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, many of her bigger credits have continued to be products of nepotism. She had the starring role in Wildcat, written, directed, and produced by her father, and which no one saw. She had a supporting role in The Kill Room, produced by and starring her mother, and which no one saw. Outside of that, her most prominent credits have been tiny, inconsequential bit parts in Asteroid City and Maestro. She finally broke free from that mold in 2024 with her voice performance as Anxiety in Pixar's Inside Out 2, but she still has a long way to go before she's free of the Nepo Baby label. A notable enough name to mention, but the least accomplished of Tarantino's Manson 5, with by far the weakest career trajectory at this point in time, and it's not even a debate. Moving on.
Fuck you, Katie. Sorry I don't know the name of every fascist on TV in the 50s.
Look, I'm gonna be that guy. I don't like Mikey Madison's performance in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I mean, where the fuck are we, man? We are in fucking Hollywood, man.
I understand she was playing a deranged and murderous psychopath, and that the entire third act of the film is essentially an over-the-top fairy tale, but something about her performance just didn't work for me.
You two ready to kill some piggies?
That was my first exposure to her as an actor, but everything else I've seen her in, she's been fantastic. Before Tarantino, she was mostly known for appearing in the comedy series Better Things, and afterward she got wider recognition for her supporting role in the 5th installment of the Scream franchise. By this point for me personally, she had already proven herself to be a great up-and-coming talent in Hollywood, but then came 2024. Anora blew me away when I saw it in theaters, due in no small part to Mikey Madison's magnificent screen presence and natural ability to command every scene she was in. And she was in almost every scene in the film. Her powerhouse performance undoubtedly helped Sean Baker secure the Palme d'Or at Cannes, and she herself would receive honors at the Academy Awards later on. 2024 was a fantastic year for all these actors, but I think it's fair to say she came out on top. She doesn't even need to do anything this year if she doesn't want to. Her place in Hollywood is secure, and I couldn't be happier for her. May we never speak of this performance again.
George isn't blind! You're the blind one!
I know I just got done complaining at length about nepotism, but at the risk of coming off as a total hypocrite, I don't necessarily hold Margaret Qualley to the same level of scrutiny. Sure, she got her foot in the door solely because of her mom, but unlike Maya Hawke, whose career since Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has been almost entirely held afloat by her parents, Margaret Qualley has found success independently of Andie MacDowell's name and influence. Sort of a philosophical question, I suppose. If a nepo baby is handed a job but they end up being good at it, then is their continuing to have that job still nepotism? Anyway, her biggest roles pre-Tarantino were in The Leftovers, The Nice Guys, and that god-awful live-action Death Note movie. And yet it still turns out that sticking her feet up on the dash for Tarantino to drool over is one of the best things she could have ever done for herself. It took her a little bit, but she finally found more solid footing with performances in films like Sanctuary and Poor Things, but then 2024 rolled around, at which point she took off and never looked back. Sure, Drive Away Dolls wasn't such a big hit, but she followed that up with a 4-for-1 special in Kinds of Kindness and a Supreme Academy Award snub in The Substance. As for this year, she's working with Ethan Coen again, as well as Richard Linklater. Safe to say she won't be exactly out of work anytime soon. Well deserved.
The Hawaiian guy seems to be okay. Everybody's talking all friendly. Tex checked him out, now he's riding away.
It's funny, despite arguably having the worst resume and undoubtedly having the worst 2024 of all the actors featured in this video, Sydney Sweeney is probably the most popular and well-known. Before Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, she was mostly known for her performances on television. A brief supporting role in the 2nd season of The Handmaid's Tale, the HBO miniseries Sharp Objects, and the short-lived Everything Sucks. It didn't take her long to find success apart from Tarantino. The same year she appeared as a member of the Manson family, she played a role in Sam Levinson's series Euphoria, in which she did a legitimately great job. She found further success a few years later in the 1st season of The White Lotus, and it's a good thing she did, because although her television career has done alright for her so far, her film career has been terrible. I don't know if her agent specializes in one over the other, or if she maybe goes through 2 separate agents, one for TV and one for movies, and the one she has for movies just deeply hates her. I have no idea what's going on behind the scenes, but the run she went on in 2024 was legendary. Madam Web and Immaculate. Bam, bam, back to back. Plus a crappy looking survival movie directed by Ron Howard that nobody's watched. When your biggest success of the year is a movie released at the tail end of the previous year, that's usually a good indicator that something needs to change now. The ship is off course, Sydney. Get it fixed. It's important to remember that every great actor's career begins somewhere. In the case of these 5, they may have already had their names on the map before Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but Quentin Tarantino undoubtedly helped make their names much bigger than they were before. Great directors like him have a special talent not only for finding good actors, but for getting great performances from them as well. 2024 proved that in spades, and yet these actors' careers are still far from over. Who knows what the future holds for them? And who knows when we'll suddenly come across another group of such talented yet little-known actors all at once again in the future. It's a truly special thing when that happens, so I'll be watching plenty of movies and keeping my eyes peeled.